think that resiliency in life in general is important because regardless of the storms that life throws at you, whether or not you're a business owner or not, they're going to come, they're going to happen. Life ebbs and flows and good seasons and bad seasons. And you hear the cliche things of, you're either walking out of a storm, you're in the middle of one, or you're walking into one. Any business owner or entrepreneur will tell you that life kicks you in the teeth, business kicks you in the teeth, and you have to be able to stomach those things, good and bad, wake up the next day, come do the things day in and day out that lead you to the success that you've had and the success that you're chasing after. I think it's just so important. People spend so much time either not doing something because they're afraid of what people might think, or operating or trying to run their life or their business based off of other people's opinions when those opinions really don't matter.
The Mark Bigg Show.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Mark Bigg Show. Only got one more show before the year ends, which is kind of crazy to think. We started this a few months ago and really excited as to where it's going to go in the future. And I'll talk about that more hopefully in the next episode. But first and foremost, I've done not a great job of asking you guys for anything because I don't really want anything from you. But if you could do one thing for me, if you guys have been listening, have been getting any type of value from it, have enjoyed it, do me a favor, like it on whichever platform you listen to, whether that's Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, all those things. Like and subscribe if you would for me. I would greatly appreciate that. Today's going to be another solo episode talking about three things that I think all business owners and leaders in general really, really need to possess. I've had a lot of conversations over the last couple months. In my business, we do a lot of year-end reviews with clients that are, prepping for tax season, the following year, those types of things. And just have a lot of generalized discussions, not necessarily tax related, but just overall business related, mindset related, those types of things. And I think one of the key things that stands out in all the conversations that I've had, and even some of the conversations that I've had on the podcast with some of the guests before, we'll talk about a couple of those things that I think are imperative to business owners and leaders and those types of things, being able to withstand the storm, so to speak. And the first key one is resiliency. And I think that resiliency in life in general is important because regardless of the storms that life throws at you, whether or not you're a business owner or not, they're going to come, they're going to happen. Life ebbs and flows and good seasons and bad seasons. And you hear the cliche things of, you're either walking out of a storm, you're in the middle of one, or you're walking into one. And I feel like that's kind of true in business as well. So the resiliency factor has to be there. And I always think back to my baseball career just because that's my path that I've taken to get to this point. Professional baseball was the first grown-up job, so to speak, that I had out of high school. And just understanding that how hard of a grind professional sports are in general, but especially with baseball. And I know they've done some restructuring over the last couple of years to the minor league system, is they should have, in my opinion. But at the time when I was playing, you had 3 levels of rookie ball, short season ball, so to speak. You had 2 levels of single A, called low A, and then advanced A. Then you have double A and triple A before you even get to the big leagues. And so, a lot of people think that as soon as you get drafted, sign your contract, you're on the big league team. That's just not how it works. There's a lot of work, preparation, and grind that it takes to, whether or not you start at the lowest level or somewhere in the middle there, depending on whether you came out of high school, you're an international signee, you're a college guy, whatever the case may be, your path looks different. But either way, there's a lot of work and effort and things that have to go right for you to get there, and even make it to the big leagues, much less, get there, stay, succeed, and, maybe sign a long-term contract with a team. And the resiliency that it takes is probably, if not one of the most important characteristics that any of those guys would tell you that have made it, or even like me who didn't make it to the big leagues but had some sort of success at the professional level, will tell you that if you can't be resilient, then to be honest with you, you're probably not going to have much success, because baseball is such a microcosm for life, in my opinion. Baseball, there's a game every night. You have to, whether or not you played good or bad the night before, you have to get up the next day, go through your routine, do your work, and then go out and perform the next night. Especially if you're a position player, a third baseman, a first baseman, a catcher, whatever. You're playing every single one of those games, and you'll have a day off sprinkled in there, of course. But pitchers are a little different, but at the same time, like me, my last year, I think I had 60 appearances throughout the course of the season. And so it really takes the ability to look at what you did well, look at what you didn't do so well, and be able to stomach that, good or bad, and stomach the results, good or bad. And once again, wake up the next day, come back to work, put the effort in, and then go out there and perform. And that's the key separator, in my opinion. If you look at any successful business owner, entrepreneur, and when I say successful, I don't mean, runs a Fortune 500 company. I could just mean a business that's sustained 5 years of business, 10 years of business, because even that itself is an accomplishment. So when I say success, I don't mean that you make $1 billion a year. Any business owner or entrepreneur will tell you that life kicks you in the teeth, business kicks you in the teeth, and you have to be able to stomach those things, good and bad, wake up the next day, come do the things day in and day out that lead you to the success that you've had and the success that you're chasing after. And I think that if you don't possess that, if you don't possess it naturally, it is something, in my opinion, that you can, work on, refine, and gather more discipline for. But you just have to be able to understand that every day is not a positive day in business. Every day is not a positive day as a business owner. There's days where you're going to lose clients, whether or not you did something right or wrong. Just the ebbs and flows of business, regardless of what industry you're in, are going to happen. And being able to be okay with that and understand that regardless of what industry you're in, whether it be the service industry or the hospitality industry, whatever it is, you're not going to be able to satisfy every customer, every client all the time. It's impossible. So what you have to do is be able to stomach those as quote unquote a loss. If you lose a client, lose a customer, get a bad review, those types of things, be able to, number one, address it with that particular person, that client, that customer, and then understand what you could have done better in that situation, make it right as best you can, and then put your best foot forward, because there's still, regardless of how many clients you serve or customers you have, those need to be serviced as well. So you have to be able to stomach that, figure out what you did right, what you did wrong, what you can improve on, and continue to do that day in and day out, whether or not you feel good, your home life's going good, the business is going good. If you want to stay successful and stay the course, you have to retain that resiliency. And I think it's imperative whether you're a business owner or not, but especially if you're in some type of business or, an entrepreneur or a leader in some type of capacity, it's just an imperative trait that you have to have. And I think it's spotlighted so much in so many conversations that I have with business owners. I had a client earlier last week ask, how long have you been in business? And I said, well, I've owned my own business for 4 years now. And he's like, man, I've been doing it for a year, and it's hard. And that's the truth. It is hard. Even when things are going good from a, profit and loss standpoint, it's tough. And when things aren't going good from a profit and loss standpoint, it is tough. You have good days, you have bad days, you have those days that are monotonous. But the key separator, in my opinion, is having that resiliency and being able to get back up on the horse, so to speak. That's the kind of the terminology we used in baseball is if you're a pitcher, you go out there and you get, knocked around the yard, you got to get back up on the horse the next day, put your work in, and be ready for the next appearance, because it's a brand new game, brand new situation, probably a different team you're facing, all those types of things. So resiliency is key. Another thing that I think business owners figure out very quickly is you can't have an opinion of what other people think of you. People are going to have their opinions of you, of your business, of the way that you operate, of the way that you do things, and you have to be okay with that. You can't live your life, run your business based off of the opinions of others. You have to be able to understand that in order to do something different, you just have to be different. And so a lot of people, even if they're in business themselves or in the same industry as you, they may look at the way you do something or your marketing or just one of the practices that your business has and think that that's wrong, think that that's silly, think you look funny, whatever the case may be. Everybody's going to have their opinions, and you have to be okay with that. Obviously, in business, you're trying to cater to customers and clients because that's what, that's what drives revenue. That's what drives your business. But at the same time, I think so many people focus on the outward opinion of what people think of them while they're trying to do the things to grow their business and lead the people that they lead in the right way. And obviously you have to take, constructive criticism, being in leadership positions, being in business ownership positions, in any position really. But at the same time, there's a difference between me operating my life or my business just because someone thinks a certain way about what I do or how I did it or how I said it versus, taking constructive criticism and taking feedback that can improve the way that you operate and the way that you run your business. It's important, but you can't lose sleep over the fact that someone maybe thinks you're silly because you're posting on Instagram or, just like doing this podcast. Some people may think you're silly. Why are you taking the time to do this? It's just something that I feel like is important to me. It's important to my personal brand. It's important to my business, in my opinion. There's probably a lot of people that disagree. I'm not the best speaker. I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but I don't care what those people think, to be honest with you. And, Not that that's right or wrong, but I just think that most people that achieve some type of success, you know that your path's going to be different. And the fact of the matter is people are going to have their opinions of you're working too much or you're spending too much time away from your work trying to do too much stuff outside of work. Whatever the case may be, people are going to have their opinions. They're going to say what they want to say. You got to be okay with that. I've never been someone that really takes the traditional path in life in general, to be honest with you. I've always done things a little differently. I think so anyways. So I've always had people that would say things or think a certain way or feel a certain way, and you just can't lose sleep over that. You can't run your life, you can't run your business in a way that just caters to people's opinions, because you're going to spend too much time trying to people please this person or that group and lose sight of the fact that you have a goal. You have a business to run, you have people to lead, you have a team to lead, you have people to influence, those types of things. So you got to be okay with people having sometimes negative opinions about you. The thing that I always lean back on is, Gary Vee talks about it all the time, is the 4, 5, 6, 2, 10, however many people you have in your close circle. I care about those opinions almost more than anything else, because they're the ones that know me the best. And so I think that you have to, kind of take that application. The people that are closest to you, whether it be your family, your friends, your kids, whatever the case may be, the ones that know you the best, those are the opinions that matter, because they know you deeply. They know your intentions. They know your heart. So many of these other people, if you're in a position where you're leading people or you're running a business or you're an entrepreneur or whatever the case may be, they don't have all the facts. They don't know you on that intimate level. So you can't, once again, lose sight of your goals and the way that you're going to operate and what your path is based off those people's opinions, because they don't know the real you. They don't know the in-depth things about you. They don't know your heart. They don't know your mind. They don't know the way that you intentionally lead people, all those types of things. So I lean on that heavily because I thought that's always stuck with me. And so I wanted to kind of share that with you as well, because I think it's just so important. People spend so much time either not doing something because they're afraid of what people might think, or operating or trying to run their life or their business based off of other people's opinions, when those opinions really don't matter. And the last thing that I'll say, kind of piggybacking off of that, is going to be the ability to just figure it out. One of the things that I learned very, very quickly when I left the previous firm I was with to start my own business was that there's not like a playbook or a rule book that is just out there for you to grasp and take and step by step have every single thing that you need to do. Great leaders, great entrepreneurs, great business owners, great people in general, in my opinion, just have the ability to figure stuff out as they go. There's usually not that template that gives you every single thing that you're supposed to do to make sure every single thing is intact and in the right place for day one of business. There's a lot of things that you just have to figure out by trial and error. And once again, going back to that resiliency and not caring what other people think, you're going to do stuff wrong. You're going to screw stuff up. You're going to not do things the most efficient way just because you don't know. And so great leaders and great business owners will figure out very quickly how to figure those things out, because you can't spend too much time doing something the wrong way or the least efficient way, because it's going to cost you time and money down the road. So you have to be able to figure out, I did this wrong, or I can figure out this system to use that's more efficient to do that task, or whatever the case may be. Being able to delegate in that regard too. Just understanding that you're not going to have everything figured out day one, and that part is okay. Because it kind of piggybacks off being resilient and not caring what other people think, because you're going to screw up the first time that you do anything. You're going to do it probably the worst time that you ever do it. If you continue to do something, you're going to constantly improve, or you should be if you want to be moving towards a goal. So being able to just figure those things out and not put too much pressure on yourself to fail, because you're going to. Once again, you're going to do things wrong. You're going to do things inefficient. I'm just not a great organizational type person. That's probably my biggest weakness as far as business operations go. I'm just not an organized person by nature. And so that's one of the things that I've really had to take the time and focus my efforts on, is like, I'm not the most organized. So how can I either put people in positions to help me do things so that I stay more organized, or I stay more efficient with my time, or what are these systems that I can do, or these actions that I can take daily, little small things that will allow me to put myself in the best position possible, because I know what my strengths and my weaknesses are. So the weaknesses, I don't spend a ton of time worrying about them, because I'm not going to be able to fix them all. But how can I spend some time to make those more efficient, make my time use more valuable, delegate things to other people so that they can be put in positions for them to succeed. But it also takes one thing off my plate where I can focus on maybe one of my strengths in a more concentrated light. So all three of them are obviously intertwined, but the last one, especially the ability to figure it out. I'm sure there's a word for it, but that's just the terminology that I have. And that's one of the things that, going back to one of the episodes with my older brother, I always tell people all the time that that's one of the key things that I think he's figured out. He's just got the ability to figure it out, and I've always empathized and been drawn to that about him. And so I think that great leaders and great business owners, they have that knack to just figure it out, whether that means networking, whether that means researching, whether that means finding new softwares, new systems, delegating things, whatever that looks like. Just the ability to figure it out is just so important in business and in life in general, obviously, because no one has a playbook or a rule book that's got every single thing in it, especially early on when you're starting your business. And obviously, as time goes on, you find your path and you find your niche and you find your lane, but you always have to be constantly evolving and improving because things are changing. So you have to be able to, even once you do figure something out, maybe something down the road, a rule changes or a new software comes out, or whatever the case may be, to be able to figure those things out to continue to improve and make your business and your time more efficient. So 3 things that I thought you guys could benefit from, really been prevalent in conversations over the last few weeks with clients of mine and friends of mine and those types of things. Being resilient, not really caring what other people think at the core of it, and then being able to just figure it out. So I hope that finds you well, serves you well. You guys picked up something from that. Once again, if you don't mind, please like and subscribe on whatever platform it is that you're listening on. I would greatly appreciate it, and we'll see you soon.